Good evening, everyone. My name is Will Whitman, and I am coming to you today from my home in Georgia. And I am talking to you about the Gucci Blackface scandal today. Very, very controversial topic, very infamous incident, kind of uh, got Gucci into a lot of trouble. So, yeah, we're going to jump right in and see what they did. So in February of 2019, Gucci was met with controversy when they released their new product, the black baklava style jumper sweater, which immediately caught criticism on the internet, saying it resembles blackface. And obviously, the history of blackface in this country is very deeply rooted in our country's history. So obviously, it's you can see why it's still so offensive in this time, and why so many people are outraged that Gucci would have sold a sweater like this. So this is the black baklava style sweater that is under question. And so as you can see, it's like a turtleneck style sweater with like a little pull-up thing to make you look like you have oversized red lips around your mouth, which of course is stereotypically how blackface is characterized. But for a little more background on blackface as to why it's so offensive and why so many people were outraged by it. So it originated after the Civil War when street performers started putting on shoe polish on their face to act as a demeaning way towards African Americans, because they used it as a form of comedy, making fun of them. During the Jim Crow era, this was big, with the Jim Crow laws and all that. And of course, Birth of a Nation is a very famous movie. Well, rather infamous. It's very, very offensive nowadays. But yeah, basically just showed the African Americans as the white man's enemy. Terrible stuff. But yeah, that's just a little bit of history behind it. And that's why it's so demeaning and racially charged in this country. So this certainly impacted the Gucci brand a lot. There was a lot of backlash from influencers like Spike Lee, Soulja Boy, Dapper Dan. He actually worked with Gucci on a lot of clothing lines and products and stuff in the past. So he completely boycotted them. Soulja Boy has a Gucci tattoo on his face, or had a Gucci tattoo on his face. He removed it straight up after this whole thing happened. And yeah, a lot of people were boycotting Gucci for the months following this. As you can see in the bottom right corner, it says call to action, stop buying Gucci for the next 3 months, don't wear any Gucci. So yeah, it obviously had a huge impact on their brand and their sales and their image as a company as a whole. So this was Gucci's response to the whole situation. Obviously they apologized. They removed the item from their catalog. They addressed the offense, but they really focus on making promises for the future and how they're going to prevent this from happening again, rather than, coming up with a solution for now. Like reparations or something like that. And how does this even happen? How does someone at Gucci not say, yeah, this looks like something racist or something that could be stereotypical? I just don't understand how it got released in the first place, but here we are. So this was Gucci's 4-step plan to get their image back on track. So the first step was for them to create a diversity and inclusive awareness program, which basically just increases the inclusivity of minorities and stuff during their hiring process. Then following that step, they were going to implement a multicultural design scholarship for people of color and minorities to apply for the scholarship, and Gucci could give them money for minority groups within the fashion industry. The third step was to create mandatory cultural awareness and sensitivity training for all 18,000 Gucci employees worldwide had to go through this after this scandal. And finally, they said they were going to start a global exchange program, which was to, quote, promote a multicultural and diverse workplace by providing internal mobility for talents to move and work at the headquarters in Italy. So that's obviously a pretty cool opportunity that minorities got that came out of this controversy. But again, it kind of just felt like Gucci covering their tracks and not really apologizing for the here and now and just saying, okay, this is not going to happen again, which in my opinion is kind of messed up. So this is kind of like a solution I came up with that might better suit what happened with their scandal. So obviously send personal apologies to their endorsers. That would be a good way to start mending relationships with sponsors and whatnot. Create a foundation that assists in lowering lower class youth in America with clothes. So, provide some people in poverty with clothes, and also just creating a new clothing line to commemorate trailblazers for the African community like MLK and other people like him. So yeah, potential impacts of the solution. It would obviously show the public that Gucci admires the African American history and culture as well, and hopefully would help them get all this behind them, get all this controversy behind them. So in conclusion, the scandal was insensitive and reckless of the company. It's an issue deeply rooted in our country's history, so I don't know how they could have been so insensitive to it. And they honestly presented an inferior solution. So I believe that there could have been a better solution that they came up with. And yeah, that about does it. Thank you guys for listening. And this has been the Blackface Scandal brought to you by Gucci.